We're going to pick up the action now in the example game between the Boston Red Sox and the New York Mets from Game 1 of the 1986 World Series. We're going to pick it up in the top of the second inning. The score is still 0-0. Red Sox managed to hit in the top of the first, but no one has scored yet. And just to click over here, I've loaded everything into the Dugout Steps Baseball Excel helper that is now available, and there is a video on that if you haven't seen that yet, and it allows all of these shortcut buttons to work. And again, there's a small delay because of the resources that my screen capture camera takes up anytime that I do switch screens, etc., etc. It's a lot faster when it's just hosted on your computer. So we're at the top of the second inning. I'm using ball stat and ball score in this case, and Dwight Evans is at bat. So I'm going to slide down here just a little bit, and Dwight Evans and Ron Darling are matched up here. Darling is a 78 against a righty, and Evans bumps that up 3, so the at-bat impact number between these two is 81, and I roll, and I have a 29 for the pitcher-batter interaction roll, and a 9 here on the random number 20, so nothing close to anything that would be a walk or a hit, and 29 obviously is well within the range for Ron Darling to win that. The 9 indicates here that we have an X E chance. That's an X error chance, so those are on the ball in play right side, so anytime there's a 9 in that second digit, you need to do an error check on specific types of plays. And so because Dwight Evans is going to be out, Ron Darling won the matchup here. Let's look at 90 on his pitcher out grid, and that's going to be a line out to the first baseman. Since it's a line out directed to right field, that the infield position is the first baseman, so line outs are to the infielders. And because the ball is not a hit, the batted ball isn't a hit or something that hits the ground, the XE chance is out. So no XE error check, and Dwight Evans simply lines out to the first baseman, and I go back to my ball score, and the shortcut is O, and then the shortcut button for a line out to the first baseman is Y, and it's an L3. Alright, so next we're going to have Rich Gedman up. Darling is 76. Against righties, Gedman modifies that down to 3, so the at-bat impact number between those two is 73. I roll, and I'm going to have a 77. Cool. So that's going to be a base hit. He wins that interaction, and nothing here that on our 20 that suggests there would be anything near a walk or anything like that. And all right, cool. We have as on Gedman's batter hit grid, we have what could be a home run. We got to look at that first, directed towards left field. So when we look at the game chart, the spray chart, if you're using a random number 20 on the hit direction, then this gives you the spray chart 1 through 20 from right to left. If it's the second digit, then it's 1 through 10 right to left. So the number 11 fits in here. It's directed towards straightaway left field. So when we look back at it, Rich Gedman, he's hit a deep drive headed towards left field. All right. So the first thing we need to do here is have a look at it. Since it's a home run to fly ball situation, it starts at the number 20 and everything gets modified down from there. So Shea Stadium, and it's to straightaway left field, is a -2, and Ron Darling is a -1 against left-handers, so that drops that down to 17. All right, so we're going to re-roll and see what happens. So let's go to the game chart, and this here will tell you what type of home run or what type of ball is hit, and then the chances that it actually gets caught. And Gedman is not going to be it just has a field power of a dash. So when you look over here at the chart, we're in this column here, and so we've got a 1 through 17. It's going to be a home run. Anything above that's going to be a double off the wall. So let's roll again, and it's a 12, which means it is out of here. And you use that 94 to have a look here. So it's a towering shot, and then this will tell you the distance that it's hit. So you divide by 2. And you don't have to do this every time. I like to do it sometimes just for fun, but that's 43 feet. You're going to take this in feet. So 87 is divided by 2 and you round up, so that's 48 feet. And when you look at Shea Stadium, we don't know the exact distance between those two fences. If it would have been in the power alley or down the line, we would have. So he hit something probably about 380 some odd feet. And when we look back at the game chart here, if this were since the towering shot, and it did get out, and it's about 380 some odd feet if we looked at it. If it would have had a chance to get caught, then you would use these numbers here to determine if there was a wall chance where the fielder could have picked a ball off the top of the wall or something like that. So Rich Gedman touches up Ron Darling for a homer, and the Red Sox get on the board here in the top of the first inning. The shortcut button is A, and the number is 4, and it's a solo shot. Red Sox up 1-0. All right, so Rich Gedman hits a solo shot, and the next batter is going to be Dave Henderson. Darling is 78 against righties. Henderson bumps that up 9, so that's 87. And we're going to roll again and see what happens. All right, we have a pitcher-batter interaction roll of 18 and a random number of 3. So when we look here, Ron Darling isn't pitching with overpowering stuff, but Dave Henderson has a plus K rating of 3. So that means that he's going to strike out swinging, and we use this next number here since every time you have a number 3, and it mentions it on the front chart, any errors on drop, swinging, third strike. So any time that there's a swing and a miss strikeout with a result number of 3 on it, and especially here where it's the random number 20, that means it's a swing and a miss strikeout, and he's dropped the strike. And you look at this number here, right, and this number is 53. But when you look at the main chart, if it were anything that's 1 through 80, it's going to be an error check on the catcher to see if he commits an error trying to throw down to first base because he dropped the strike, and that means Henderson's running down to first base. Anything that would be 81 to 90, there would be a pass ball check, and 91 to 100 would be a wild pitch check. And again, on those, you're using the second digit. So let's look back at Darling here. Darling has a wild pitch rating of 3. So if this were 93, then Dave Henderson would strike out swinging, but would reach first base safely on a wild pitch by Darling. But since this is above, and let's look over here, Gary Carter has an error rating of 6, so it's well above that. So that means that that Dave Henderson has struck out swinging, and the ball hits the ground, so it's a drop third strike. And because this number is odd, Henderson did not run down to first base, and instead Gary Carter slaps the tag on him. So he goes down swinging, and Carter tags him, and when you go to ball score, you hit the S button 3 times, and it brings up the different type of strikeout scenarios, and you click here, batter out at first, and you take away anything here in this order, and you put the catcher put out, and it shows up a K2 here. So that's a swing and a miss strikeout by Dave Henderson, and then Gary Carter slapped the tag on him. So we've got now 2 out, and the next batter is going to be Spike Owen. All right, so now Spike Owen is going to be up, and he's a switch hitter, which means he's going to be batting from the left side. Darling is a 76 against lefties, and against righties, Owen is a plus 10, so that puts the at-bat impact number up to 86, and we roll again. And we have here a 74 and an 18. So an 18 is pretty close to Owen's walk rating, but not quite there. And obviously 74 is less than 86. So that means that Darling is going to win this matchup. And there's nothing here like a 5 or a 9 that means you would check for an error. So we look at 52 on the pitcher out grid for Ron Darling, and that means it's a ground ball directed towards center field, and because the second digit is even, it's to the shortstop, and 11 is right at him, basically, right? So it's a ground ball right at the shortstop, and we look back over here on the Mets, and you don't have to do this. You really don't have to check that. You could just record that as an out, but our shortstop is Rafael Santana, and so it's going to be a ground ball to Rafael Santana, and he throws over to Hernandez, and that's going to end the inning. So it's O is the shortcut button, and G is the shortcut for a shortstop to first base. So it's just a ground ball, and the out is scored 6-3. So after we finish another half inning, after 1.5 innings, the Red Sox are leading 1-0 on the strength of a Rich Gedman home run to left field, an opposite field shot. So we're going to move to the bottom of the second inning with the Red Sox up 1-0, and Darryl Strawberry is going to lead off the bottom of the second for the Mets. So let's go over to the home tab, and we've got Bruce Hurst on the mound, and I forgot to give him the control 9. I remember now that that's the role he got in his warm-up tosses. So he's going to face Darryl Strawberry. It's a lefty on lefty matchup. Hurst is 75 against lefties, and Strawberry is a dash, which means 0. So the at-bat impact number between the two is 75, and we're going to roll. See if the Mets can get on the board. Hey, look at this. So we have a 77, which is greater than the at-bat impact number. And when we look at the hit grid for Darryl Strawberry, we have an 09 right here, right, which slots into a home run directed towards center field. So we're going to repeat the process and see if Darryl Strawberry can tie this one up. And it's a straightaway center field, right? So when we look at the game chart, the spray chart, since we're using this number here, it's to straightaway. So it's the dead straightaway center field. So when we go back and look at that, Shea Stadium is a -6. So we start at 20 because it's a home run to fly ball scenario. You start at 20. If it were the other way, if we were checking to see if a fly ball were to get out, we would start at 0 and then add and subtract from there. So Strawberry's hit a long fly, and it's straightaway center field, so that gets dropped down to 14. And then Bruce Hurst also drops it down a little bit more because he's a -2 against lefties. So that's going to give us a number of 1 through 12 to see if there's a home run. So when we go back to the game chart, Strawberry is a plus P, so that's a different column. So we're going to use the plus P column here on the game chart, this one here, to see what kind of shot he hits. So we roll again, and we have a 62, which means it's a power drive. All right, 62 is a power drive, and 9 is obviously within the 1 through 12 range. So it's a power drive to straightaway center field, and if we wanted to look at the distance, we could, but let's move along here. And since it's a pretty good shot, so it's a power drive out to center field, and Darryl Strawberry is going to tie this one up in the bottom of the second inning with the leadoff homer. So the shortcut button is A, and 4 is a solo shot, so he ties this one up in the bottom of the second inning. Strawberry's solo shot ties it up, and when you look at the game chart, another word about home runs, you don't have to find out what the home run distance is, but you do need to determine what type of ball is hit. These numbers in parentheses here, if there's a wall scenario where the fielder may actually be able to steal a home run and pick it off the top of the fence, the type of ball hit influences the chances that happens. So a line shot, there's no bump up to the fielder rating. A carrying fly that kind of drops down at a different angle, that influences the ability of the fielder to make the catch. So Strawberry ties that one up, and the next batter is going to be Ray Knight. Hurst is a 73 against righties. Knight modifies that down by 4, so there's an at-bat impact number of 69, and we're going to roll again. And again, this would happen quite a lot quicker if I wasn't using a lot of resources on my computer to do the screen capture. And we have a number of 82. And since there's no one on base, then this is a lot further away than his W rating of 20, and nowhere he doesn't have a plus K rating or anything like that. So Ray Knight is going to win this matchup. And 14 on his batter hit grid is equal to or less than 18 and greater than 13, so it's a double to center field, and there's no out to hit scenario or anything like that, and it's just a double for Ray Knight. So we go back to ball score, A, and then 2 gives us a double. All right, so with the man on, that's going to bring up Tim Tuffle. Now we switch to the men on base ratings. Hurst is a 75 against righties with men on, and Tuffle is a +1, so he bumps that up to 76. And let's see if the Mets can get something going here. So we roll, and the pitcher-batter interaction roll is a 12, and that's fairly low, but nowhere near low enough to be to the outs to hits range for Shea Stadium. And now let's look here to determine the type of out we're going to have. So we would look on Bruce Hurst's pitcher out grid, and 54 means that there's going to be a ground ball directed towards first base, which is the ball in play right side. So when we look here, ground ball, ball location number of 7, and there's a runner on second base. So that means that If it were 17 through 20 or 1 through 4, that would mean that the first baseman shovels it to the pitcher covering first, but that's not the case. So it's pretty much hit fairly close to the first baseman, and that's Buckner. And Buckner's going to take it to first base for the unassisted out, and Knight is going to advance to third. So when we go to ball score, O for out, and then M on a ground out is a 3 unassisted. So we click M, and Ray Knight's going to advance to third. All right, so next is going to be Rafael Santana, and Ray Knight's on third base with 1 out. So we're going to see if Santana can cash that in for another Mets run, see if they can take the lead. And again, we're operating with men on, so Hurst is a 75 in that scenario. Santana is a +7 against lefties. That's an at-bat impact number of 82. And we roll, and we have a result number of 26. And this control number here of 16, so it's nowhere near a walk or anything like that. So that means that Hurst wins the matchup. And let's look here to see what the out scenario is going to be. And that means it's a ground ball directed towards center field. And that even number means it's the shortstop. So when we look at the ball in play result boards, the shortstop and second base scenario is going to be on the right side. Left side. Hit the wrong one. So when we look back over here, ground out to the shortstop and the second baseman. In this scenario, I was just going to play the infield back to make sure that there wasn't the chance for a huge rally or anything like that. And so in this case here, the ball in play location number is a 3. So that means there's a chance we could make a play on the runner. So let's go ahead and do that just to show what happens here. So that means that there's an 8, a base number of 8. And then we're going to add Ray Knight's speed to that, and that's going to give us a chance, all right, that the batter is safe. So if you look here, Ray Knight has a speed rating of 2. So when we go back to the ball and play result board on the left side, so that means that if it were an A, that would be less of a chance. So A, B, and C, as you see here, there's a greater chance because the base number increases plus the base runner speed. So we have a chance number of 10. So basically, it's a 50-50 shot. So that means it's a ground ball to the shortstop. Spike Owen fields it, and he's going to gun it to get him at home to see if they can tag Ray Knight out and prevent another run from being scored. So we're going to roll up here, and anything that's 1 through 10 here, there's a chance it's going to be an out. Anything greater than that, then Ray Knight is going to be safe. Sorry, it's the other way around. Anything that's 1 through 10 is going to be safe. Anything higher than that should be out. So I roll again, and it's a 5, so he's safe. So we took the base number of 8, added that his speed number to that. That gives us a chance number, and 5 is well within that. So that means that the Red Sox took a gamble. We had Spike Owen throw home to see if he could prevent the run, and he wasn't able to get him out. So when we go back to ball score, we go up here for the fielder's choice section, and that means all runners are safe. So the Mets take the lead, right? The Red Sox decided to gamble and see if they could get him out, and they weren't. So the Mets take the lead on a gamble by the Red Sox on a fielder's choice that scored Ray Knight from third, as Santana hit a ground ball to the shortstop. Spike Owen went home with it, but they weren't able to get there in time. And that means that there's a runner on first, Rafael Santana, and Ron Darling is going to be up. And we're going to go ahead and have Darling lay down a sacrifice bunt. And I'm going to flip back over. The pitchers have all of their hitting ratings and information down along this bottom section of their card. So Ron Darling has a sac bunt rating of 75. And let's go back over. And because he's going to actually show bunt, we add 15 to that. So he has a sac bunt rating of 90. So we're going to roll. And the result is a 20-10. So we look on the bunt chart front side and have a look at ball location number 10. 20 is well within the 90 range. So the location number of 10 means that he's hit it to the pitcher, left of the mound, and if the 1 through 100 number would have been low enough to be down equal to 10 or less, there would have been a chance he could have beat it out, but he didn't. So it's just a simple sacrifice hit. They could make a play on the runner going from first to second, but I don't think they'd want to do that after they just took a gamble and a runner scored. So sac hit for Ron Darling, and we go back to ball score. And up here we have the SH, which is an abbreviation for sacrifice hit. And I always like to imagine that the wheel play is on since he showed bunt. So Santana is going to advance to second. That means the pitcher fielded it, and he is going to throw to the second baseman covering. All right, so we got a runner in scoring position with 2 down, and we go back and have a look, and we're back to the top of the order, and that means Mookie Wilson with a man on second. So with a man on, Hurst is still operating with a 75, and Wilson, who actually cashed in on some pretty good scenarios that year, is a -11. So there's an at-bat impact number of 64. So we roll again, and the result number is 21. 17 isn't high enough to be within the W rating of Mookie Wilson or anything like that. And this isn't a 5 or a 9 or anything that would indicate that an error would happen. And we look here, and on the play result roll, we have a number 87, which means that it's a line out directed right at the third baseman. So he hits a line shot down to the third base line, and Boggs is going to catch it basically. We don't need to check anything else. There's 2 outs and everything like that. So it is a line out. So we bring up O, and then it's just an L5, line out to the third baseman. And that is going to end the inning. So the Mets go ahead and take the lead in the bottom of the second. They're up 2-1 going to the third. Strawberry answered Rich Gedman's solo shot with one of his own to straightaway center field. And then the Red Sox, actually with Ray Knight, got a double, moved over to first base, and then they tried to throw him out at home, allowing him to score. And on the fielder's choice, Santana took first. So the Mets are up 2-1 after 2. All right, we're going to go to the top of the third, and Bruce Hurst is going to lead off for the Red Sox. So let's switch back over here to the visitor tab. All right, so Hurst is going to lead off, and let's have a look at Hurst. Pitchers don't have split side ratings or anything like that, so he is a +27 with a +15 K rating. So let's go ahead and look back here. So remember, he's a +27 with a +15 K rating. And so Ron Darling is a 76 against lefties, right? Because Hurst is a lefty batter, so he's a 76 against lefties, and that means that there's very little chance, except for an out to hit scenario, that Ron Darling would get on base. So let's roll the numbers, and we have a 77, which is high, but not high enough in this scenario. And if it would have been 15 or less, it would have been a strikeout by Bruce Hurst. Right off the bat, a +K strikeout, but instead we have here Ron Darling, 12 fits within his K rating. So we have a strikeout, and anything that ends here 2, 4, 6, anything that is 02, 04, 06, 08, or 10 is a strikeout looking, but anything that's odd or above 10 is a strikeout swinging. So Bruce Hurst, in this scenario, he's going to strike out looking, and it's the left bracket, gives us a shortcut for a K, and that's it. And now we're going to have Wade Boggs. Darling is a 76 against lefties. Boggs modifies that down 11, and that's going to give us an at-bat impact number of 65. Close, but not quite close enough. So Ron Darling wins the matchup, and let's look at 24 here. 24 indicates a ground ball to the left side. That's right at the third baseman. Ball location number indicates that it's basically right at him, and there's nothing here that indicates any type of error check or anything like that. So we're going to go back, and it's just going to be a ground out to the third baseman, and that's a 5-3. And so 2 up, 2 down quickly. See if the Sox can get a 2-out rally going here. We've got Marty Barrett up next. Ron Darling is a 78 against righties. Barrett modifies that down 4. We roll. And nope, Darling's going to win the matchup. 8. It's a long ways from anything that's going on with a +K or a walk or anything like that. And we have a look at 53. That means that it's a ground ball directed towards the middle of the field. The odd indicates that that's the second baseman, and with a ball location of 15, which is pretty much irrelevant at this point other than mental imagery, because there's nothing like a hit to out scenario or anything like that. So that's simply a ground out to the second baseman for Marty Barrett. So the shortcut is O, and then E gives us a shortcut for 4-3, and it's 3 up, 3 down by the Red Sox in the top of the second inning. So let's go ahead and have Lenny Dykstra lead off the bottom of the third. So Lenny is going to lead off the bottom of the third, and he flew out to left field. And we've got Bruce Hurst with a 75. Dykstra modifies that down 2, so we've got an at-bat impact number of 73. and 11 is very low, nothing associated with a walk or anything like that. It's not low enough to be in the outs to hits range for Shea Stadium, and a 23 is a strikeout by Bruce Hurst. Lenny Dykstra, or it could be a strikeout. Lenny Dykstra has a fight-off rating of a -3, indicates that they have a chance to fight that off, but 5 is the number you use to check that. 5 is higher than his ability to fight that off, so it's a strikeout, but this 3, anytime the strikeout ends in a 3, if it's a plus strikeout, like it would be to Darryl Strawberry, if the R20 were a 3, then it's a drop third strike, and he's going to try and run down to the first, or the catcher's going to tag him, etc., etc. This is a swing and a miss strikeout by Lenny Dykstra, and it's dropped, and so we need to re-roll really quick and have a look at this number to see if anything's going to happen. So on the re-roll, we have 45, and again, when we look at the main chart front, we're looking at this section here. Anything 1 through 80, there's an error check. Anything 81 through 90, pass ball, 91 through 100, wild pitch, etc. So we're going to look at Rich Gedman, and Gedman has an error rating of 4, so 45 is way higher than that. So what that means is, and when we look at it here, this number is odd. If it were even, there would be a throw to first, but since it's odd, that means that there's just simply going to be a tag on Lenny Dykstra, and so Lenny Dykstra strikes out swinging, so we hit S 3 times, and that brings up this scenario here. He's going to be technically out at first, and you just take away these and put out to the catcher, and he strikes out, and Gedman slaps the tag on him. So that's going to bring up Keith Hernandez, and let's have a look here. We need to switch tabs back over to the home side, and Bruce Hurst is a 75 against lefties. Hernandez modifies that down 4, so we have an at-bat impact number of 71. And we roll here close, really close, but not quite. It's just 1 under. So we're going to look on Hurst's card since he's the one that wins the matchup. 49 is within this range here, meaning a ground ball is directed towards center field. 9 is obviously odd, so it's a ground ball to the second baseman. And we simply go to a ball score. OE gives us a 4-3. And then next up is going to be Gary Carter. Hurst is a 73 against righties. Carter modifies that down 2. Gives us an at-bat impact number of 71. We roll again. And 03 is low, and it's very low, meaning that it's within the outs to hits range for Shea Stadium. And we look at the pitcher's card since it's supposed to be an out that's recorded. And 92 means it's a ground ball to the pitcher catcher. So when we look at the main chart on the back side, the ball in play right, when we look at that here, the ball location number 4 means that it's to the catcher. All right, so it's a little dribbler, a little bit out in front of the plate, and there's a range rating of 4 associated with that. So we're going to have a look here, and Gedman has a fielder rating of 7. He's a very good defensive catcher. So when we look at the main chart on the front side, on the outs to hits scenario, there's not even a chance unless something crazy happens, like the ball hits Carter or there's a bad call or something like that. So we're going to roll that, and since there's no chance, we're only rolling to see if something happens here, if there's a bad call or anything like that. So we roll the numbers, and nope, nowhere near it. So that's simply going to be a little dribbler in front of the plate, and we go to ball score, and we score that. And then the equals key gives us an out that's scored 2-3. I flip back to it here. So it's a 2-3 out. That means a dribbler in front of the plate, and Gary Carter threw out, or sorry, Rich Gedman threw out Gary Carter headed to first base. So we've completed 3 here at Shea Stadium. The Mets lead 2-1. Both teams tallied in the second, and we're off to a great start. We've had some different scenarios pop up. We had a couple of home runs. We had a range check. We had a fielder's choice with a chance that the runner would be out at home. And we've had some good things happening. So thanks again for joining us at FTP Sports Games. And in the next video, we'll pick this one up in the top of the 4th inning.